Back in 2017, India decided to totally shake up its trademark laws. And believe me, this was a huge deal, a real game changer, designed to help every business, from a tiny startup to a massive corporation, protect its most important asset, its identity. So today, we're going to break down exactly what these changes really mean for everyone.
But before we get lost in all the legal stuff, let's just do a little thought exercise. For a second, just picture a really famous brand, any brand. What's the very first thing that pops into your head?
Was it the name? You know, one of those names that's so powerful it basically becomes the word for the entire product?
Or maybe it was a sound, that little jingle that gets stuck in your head, the one you can hear right now.
Or maybe it wasn't a sound or a name at all. Maybe it was a shape, like that unique curve of a bottle you'd know anywhere, even in the dark.
So, whether you thought of a name, a sound, or a shape, all of those things are what make a brand, well, a brand. And that's exactly what India's 2017 rule change was all about, making it way simpler, faster, and just more modern to protect those very things.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll see how the new rules made protecting your brand way more affordable. Then we'll look at how they slashed through all that red tape with a simpler filing process. After that, we'll get into the cool stuff, how the law finally caught up with modern branding, like sounds and 3D shapes. And to wrap it all up, we'll zoom out and look at the big picture. First up, let's talk about the one thing that stops so many great ideas in their tracks: money. A huge goal of the 2017 rules was to make sure brand protection wasn't just a luxury for the big players. It was about leveling the playing field. So what they did was actually pretty clever. They created a special category, you could say, for individuals, startups, and small enterprises. By clearly defining what a startup or small enterprise is, they could then give these smaller players some really significant advantages.
And here's where you can really see the difference. The filing fees for those smaller guys slashed in half. We're talking from 9,000 rupees down to 4,500. That single change made professional brand protection a real achievable goal for thousands of new businesses all over the country.
Okay, so it got cheaper, which is great. But what about the headache of actually doing it? Well, the 2017 rules also took a sledgehammer to that mountain of paperwork that made the old system such a nightmare. I mean, just look at this number. They went from 75 different forms that you had to navigate down to just 8. That is a massive, massive change that made the whole thing so much less intimidating.
And that meant the whole process just got way more straightforward. Now, for example, if you need to file a new trademark, there's one form for that, TMA. Time to renew? Again, just one form, TMB. It's that simple. It's user-friendly, and it cuts down on so many potential mistakes.
But what if you're on a tight deadline? You know, you're launching something new and you just can't wait? They thought of that too. The rules created a formal fast-track option. You pay a bit extra and you can get your trademark examined within 3 months. For a business in a fast-moving market, that's absolutely crucial. And to stop the whole process from getting bogged down in endless delays, they also got a lot tougher on how challenges work. Now there are strict deadlines, no extensions, and a limit on how many times hearings can be postponed. The goal here was pretty clear: keep things moving. Okay, so we've got cheaper and faster. But the 2017 refresh did something else that was absolutely critical. It brought the law into the 21st century. It didn't just tweak the old system, it really modernized it for the digital age we all live in. Basically, everything went digital. E-filing became the new standard. Email is how all official communication happens, and you can even have your hearings over video conference now. Just think about that. No more travel, no more stacks of paper. It saved businesses an incredible amount of time and money. And remember how we talked about sounds at the beginning? Well, the new rules officially recognize that a trademark can be more than just a logo you can see. It can be something you can hear. They created specific rules for things like sound marks, finally acknowledging that a jingle is a core part of a brand.
And now there's a proper playbook for it. If you want to protect your brand's catchy tune, you just submit a short MP3 file, 30 seconds max, along with something like musical notation to show what it is.
And that same kind of thinking was applied to things you can actually touch. The rules also cleared up exactly how to protect a 3D mark. You know, the unique shape of your product, or its cool packaging that makes people recognize it instantly.
Again, the process is pretty straightforward. You just confirm it's a 3D mark and then show a few pictures from different angles. This is a real game changer for companies where the shape of their product is the brand.
All right, so let's pull all these threads together. Cheaper, faster, more modern. What was the real-world impact of all these changes for businesses on the ground in India? Well, here's a big one. They introduced a new status you can apply for called a well-known trademark. Think of it like getting into an exclusive club. Now, it costs a lot, 1 lakh rupees. But once you're in, your brand gets this incredible top-tier protection that stops people from using similar marks, even in totally different industries.
But of course, giving a brand that much power comes with a few question marks. While it's a great tool for big, established brands, experts have rightly pointed out that you have to be really careful about who gets this status. The risk is that a giant company could use it to unfairly block out smaller, innovative competitors.
So when you look at the whole picture, the 2017 rules were a massive leap forward for India. The system became smarter, more accessible, and way more in tune with the times. But it does leave you with one final thought, right? These laws were built for a world of MP3s and unique product shapes. As brands now start living in virtual worlds, in the metaverse, what's the next great legal evolution going to have to be?
Thank you. Keep learning and growing with Finlex Insight. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.